Commonly confused words. Abhorrent vs aberrant. Abhorrent describes something truly horrible like finding a dead rat in your soup, but something aberrant is just abnormal, like a cat in a pink fedora. Abhorrent means disgusting or detestable. When you abhor something, you loathe it. Its Latin root means to shudder, recoil, which is what you do when faced with something abhorrent like a zombie. Abhorrent in sentence. She said sanitary conditions in the emergency room were abhorrent. If I thought monarchy abhorrent, for example, I would not seek British citizenship. Aberrant means unusual, straying from a defined path. It's not necessarily nasty. It's from the Latin, aberrantum, wandering away. It's related to error, a mistake, through Old French and Latin. If a behavior is aberrant, it's just not normal. Aberrant in sentence. On a world level, the eruption at the Norte Chico was improbable, even aberrant. Upstairs the show gives way to delicious aberrant moments, like the gallery kitted out in beige walls and chunky red molding. If you can remember that the error in aberrant indicates an error and that you abhor something that is abhorrent, your word choice should be neither aberrant nor abhorrent. Wearing a feather boa to a funeral? Aberrant. Stealing the body? Abhorrent. Commonly confused words. Accept versus accept. To accept is to receive, and accept is to exclude, usually. Both are busy little words skipping around to different meanings, but they never run into each other. To accept is to receive something like tea, an idea, or a student into your college. Please accept, favorably receive, our apologies, but you're just going to have to accept, put up with, the fact that this verb has almost a dozen different meanings. Accept in sentence. He accepted tea from Annette without looking at her. Comments are accepted for a month before guidance is adopted. Accept usually means unless or excluding, but it's sometimes used as verb to leave out. Except in sentence. It's dark, except for the emergency bulbs that glow like red eyes along the border of the theater. Quiet, benign, his gestures small but eloquent, he barely talks except about the music. It's the verb form that confuses, and it's usually accept when accept is wanted. So remember, to accept is to receive or believe something, but to accept is to leave out. Accept something by giving it an A, or exclude it with a big fat X for accept. Commonly confused words. Adieu versus adieu. An adieu is a fuss, and adieu is French for farewell. They sound similar but aren't exactly twins. Adieu sounds like adieu and adieu is like adieu. Someone who makes a lot of ado about things has a tendency to make them more busy or complicated than they need to be. Shakespeare wrote much ado about nothing, and that's still the way you'll often hear the word. It's usually found in that phrase or without further ado. An ado is an unnecessary hustle-bustle. Adieu in sentence. Some of the library trustees, though, said they thought Ms. Phillips had made much ado about nothing. And now, without further ado, let's count down the top 10 worst Christmas movie flops of all time. Adieu is French for goodbye, but English borrows it. Au revoir is also French for goodbye, but that's more of a see you later, while adieu is more like farewell forever. Adieu comes from adieu, which means to God. You say that to someone if you think it's the last time you'll see her alive, or even if it just seems that way. You can also bid something adieu. Adieu in sentence. So it is with a heavy heart that I must bid the pen adieu. In French, people say au revoir to say see you again, but when they say adieu, well, that's like saying, we'll never see you again. Say adieu, goodbye, to getting them adieu, mixed up. Adieu is like to do, and adieu is a dramatic farewell, what you might say to someone if they're about to die. See the word die in adieu. And now without further ado, bid this explanation adieu. Commonly confused words. Adopt versus adapt. Adopt is to take something over, and to adapt is to change something to suit your needs. Adopt means to take on as one's own, like an idea, an attitude, or behavior, or even, of course, a creature like a baby or a dog. You can adopt an air of nonchalance, a fake British accent, or even a stray dog. When you adopt something, you consciously select it and accept it as your own. Adopt in sentence. All this strengthens my conviction that Europe must adopt strict and rigorous rules, including but not limited to the rating agencies, he said. 2 months ago, I turned down the opportunity to search for my adopted daughter's birth parents. Adapt means to change something to fit new situations, to modify. Say you move to a country where everyone cooks with lots of hot peppers. At first the food scalds your tongue, but over time you adapt, you change in a way that allows you to deal with the new circumstances. Adapt in sentence. One wonderful thing the English language can do is adapt. But obviously that military presence can adapt over time, taking into account the development in the overall security environment, he said.